Hi, family. I'm back. If you're new, I am Ann Smith. Welcome. Be sure to subscribe. All right, let's get into it. So, for this episode, I wanted to just read to you one of my most popular posts that I shared on social media because I have a feeling someone needs to hear these words today. And if I could tell the story off the cuff, but for brevity's sake, let me just go ahead and read it. All right, here we go. Okay, so I, basically spelled out this incident that happened during the course of my foreclosure of my townhouse in Maryland that I've had for 20 years. But due to circumstances beyond my control, such as two major family tragedies, took my time and attention, you know, and I basically decided to support, my family members who were, going through major health crisis to the tune of neglecting my small business. Well, you guys know if you're a small business and you neglect that, it's gonna go. Everything, was lost after that. So basically, this is what I wrote because I wanted to unpack everything in terms of my journey in the beginning into where I am now and all of that. All right. Let me read. It's kind of a long story, but it is what it is, right? I will never forget the judge standing next to me at the county recorder window. Back when I didn't have a clue what the hell was going on in the middle of my house foreclosure. The man was wearing a suit, so I smiled and I said hello. Then I asked if he was a lawyer. He said, "No, I'm a judge." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, maybe you could tell me what I could do to stay in my house." He said, "There are things you could do if you knew what to file, but I'm sorry, I can't help you. And I told you too much already." And then he had this look, he looked genuinely nervous and kept glancing over to the people behind the window, at the clerks, kind of like to make sure that everything was still, cool with them. So I was like, well, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Wait, tell me, help me understand. What are you talking about? Hey, what do I file? But not another word came out of his mouth. He spoke only to the clerks from that point on and completely ignored me. He finished his business and then he just walked away from the window without even looking back. I frantically scoured the internet in search of something, anything, but nothing solid materialized in time. I somehow managed to stave off the inevitable by submitting a sloppy motion asking for 180 days based on health. The judge granted 30 days. If I knew then what I know now, I could have handled the CEO of City Mortgage and I could have handed the CEO's ass on a platter. But I didn't know what I know now. So they stole my house of 20 years. And that happened in 2017. I remember 3 lawyers who told me that my motion would never work. One even said, "Start moving," because he said he's never heard of any judge granting such a thing. The motion that he's referring to is the one that actually got me the 30 days. Even though I had asked for 180 days, I had asked for 6 months reprieve, based on health. And I had all the medical documents and everything. So this lawyer says, "No, that's not going to work. You might as well just start moving." So needless to say, it was a small win. And I sure enough called him and I let him know that my motion worked. I didn't get the 180 days or 6 months, but I did get 30 days. So it was a small win. Small win that lit the fire in me. So I started a Facebook group to share whatever info I came across. And I said, if you're willing to share your journey, my only requirement is to share with love, kindness, and humility. That sets our group apart from the other groups, which is the main reason why I left the bigger groups, because I'm not big on ego or anything like that. I will join and support other people on their mission. But the other groups were mean-spirited, and they used to, they still demean people. They're very demeaning with their mentality and their responses. It was just a shit show of negativity, and I'm just not for all of that. I want positive feedback, and I respond to positive reinforcement. So I left for those reasons, and I said we're all learning and growing, and we've only just begun, so the story's not over. I learned it's easier to stop the foreclosure, but reversing a foreclosure is a whole other animal altogether. It is possible. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. And I actually found several articles of people who achieved reversals of a foreclosure that's already taken place, but it requires more time and more finessing. Okay, for example, in addition to exhausting private administrative process against the bank directly, a reversal also requires one to sue the county actors and to rope in a few of the federal actors too, or at least making them squirm with the belief that their freedom and their livelihood is also at risk. Okay? One man's action to reverse his foreclosure lasted 14 years before he prevailed. And that was after he had accumulated more than 3 file crates with enough damaging evidence and history on the wrongdoers. The man we shall call Bob, for the sake of this story, simply because I can't remember where I put that document. I can't find it right now, so we'll just call him Bob. So he found that his home was sold to another family who had children. Well, Bob was kind enough to allow the family to continue to stay there, to just rent from him, so that they could stay for as long as they wanted. But he maintained ownership of the property. He regained ownership of the property. Okay, so as for me, I began my private administrative process late in 2018, but I still have a few more tasks to do before I can corner the rats into submission. And I say that because after I started the group and the group started to grow, I started to neglect my own cases, including my foreclosure reversal and all of that. And guys, please note, legal research is very, very research intensive. And so, as you can see with Bob, his case lasted for 14 years. So it takes time. And I know that, and I accept that. But a lot of times people come to me and ask me, oh, can you help me take my case? And I'm like, first of all, I'm not a lawyer. And second of all, it's going to take away from the bigger mission. So I don't like to get involved in individual cases because it's too much time. I just can't even emphasize that. This battle is an individual battle, one on individual forefront, family by family, home for home, man per man, woman for woman. I mean, you have to do the research. Nobody's going to save you, and nobody is going to be the best lawyer for you than you. Nobody's going to fight as hard as you for yourself. So stop always trying to hire somebody, because that's how you're going to be a target. That's how I became a target. People can smell the desperation and the desire and the passion, but they'll take advantage of you. And that's how I lost, $7,000 on this journey, right? So, the scammers and people who, talked a really good talk, 40,000 to the lawyers and 7,000 to non-lawyers, the internet gurus, right? So take it from me, just learn the stuff yourself and, dedicate yourself. It's going to be all right. Okay, so let me get back to the reading here. So it says, as for me, I began administrative process late 2018, but still have a few more tasks to do before I can corner the rats into submission. I fired the bar rat, who kept responding for the CEO of City Mortgage, and he finally stopped meddling. That was pretty interesting. I didn't put the details, but I could tell you I was still receiving a lot of mail after I was already, out of the house. And it had a lot of information pertaining to trustee this, trustee that, and it was all coming from one specific lawyer, in the same law firm. I believe it was in Baltimore, Maryland. But in the process of my journey and my evolution, I realized, lawyers are working for both sides. He thinks that he's working for me too, so I had to fire him. And I didn't realize that. I'm thinking, he's working for City Mortgage. But in the process of learning, the truth about the law, there's a lot of hidden mechanisms that go on. So I didn't. All right, I'm going to try to pick back up the recording cut off. So anyway, that was a learning process right there. Whenever an attorney is working and you don't have an attorney, they're going to presume that they are working for you too. So you have to, rebut the presumption. And that's what I did. Would not have known that. Nobody told me that. I had to learn that on my own. You just, have to, you have to grow and learn and dedicate yourself to the study. And that's what I did. So I learned that little nugget, sent that to the lawyer, who had been, writing me for years and years, like 2 years prior to the actual foreclosure of me moving out. I learned that little tidbit, fired him, sent that off to him. He never contacted me again. That was that. So, little small victory there, but that's how you win the war. You got to win the small victories and the small battles. Okay. So, all right, where was I? Yeah, I said it wasn't easy. None of it is easy because they are all well connected and intervene and cover for each other, and they don't like it. They don't like to give in when the truth is staring them square in the face. Now that it's a more even playing field, down to the major players left, me and the CEO of City Mortgage. He's paying attention to the paperwork now by sending me emails with the old mortgage account statement that I used to receive when I was still in the house. This is the gameplay. The gameplay is real, and it's just it's just mind-blowing the kinds of things that they do to respond when they know that they're losing. So at first they were just completely ignoring all of my paperwork. But then when I fired the attorney and got him out of the way, now the next response was I started to receive, mortgage statements, the monthly statements, by email. And it was just mind blowing. Like, really, this is insane. So next, when the CEO of Fannie Mae wouldn't provide me with timely responses to the questions that I had sent, I roped him into the private action too, to the tune of $40 million in damages. I want him to believe he's going to prison for a long time, so he's not very happy with his position right now. But hey, he should have responded in time. It's just business. When we don't respond, they come after us. Well, when they don't respond, we have to go after them, and that's what I did. And the CEO of Fannie Mae started responding, back too. So I said, it's nothing personal. It's just business. My decision to include Fannie Mae is not motivated by money, not at all. It's to send a lesson, is to make a point and send a lesson that doing this evil stuff to people is no longer profitable. But I have a full plate, which is why it has dragged on for months. If only I could magically invent more time, I'd get it done. This task literally needs a group dedicated to reversing foreclosure, only because it's an exhausting and daunting task, to say the least. The wrongdoers count on people like us giving up hope and giving up the fight. But the man who reversed his foreclosure after 40 years instilled a renewed sense of hope, for me, despite the odds, right? Okay, so guys, what I'm trying to impress upon you is that this isn't going to happen overnight. It takes time, it takes determination, and it really does take the nerves of steel. And sometimes I just need a mental break. And but at the same time, I allowed myself to be pulled in so many different directions by other people and their cases and their emergencies, that this is now woefully neglected, and I have to finish this up. Now, I've already exhausted my private administrative process to the tune of defaulting the CEO of City Mortgage for $40 million and the CEO of Fannie Mae for $40 million. I just have to take it to the next level. Because I haven't taken it to the next level, because I keep taking other people's problems, I have to go back to the drawing board and just sort of, finish what I started. So that's where I am with that. It's been going on. Like I said, the foreclosure happened in 2017. I started doing my private administrative process late in 2018. And then for the whole entire year of 2019 and now into 2020, I still haven't had time to circle back because I put other people's needs first. I put other people's issues first, to the point of neglecting my own, which is fine. It's my own fault. I'm not crying the blues here. I'm not crying you a river. I'm just saying this is what happens when you try to help other people. It can definitely take a toll. So I had to start pulling back. I'm no longer doing any, one-to-one consultations and things like that. So let me give you the update. Okay, guys, here's my analysis. Here it is, like I said, a few years into this, off and on, and I'm at the tail end. But here is the analysis of the situation. The situation is this: the court officers are operators within a municipal corporation, which is why they hide this fact. They don't want you to know that this is a commercial activity, even though you are in a courtroom. Okay, that alone should just sort of, give you pause, because it was shocking to me. I don't know how you're going to receive this, but it was absolutely shocking to me. Like, what? This is not a legal process? No. This is a commercial transaction that's happening inside of the courtroom. So through the process of researching law, I learned that a foreclosure by summary judgment, the judge must have a commercial bond. Without a commercial bond, it is a violation of commercial law. Case law is not a substitute for a commercial bond. This is because the court is a municipal corporation, and a municipal corporation must have a public hazard bond to protect the public from harm. Because they do not operate with clean hands or in good faith with full disclosure, the entire matter is illegal. Did they let you know that that this was a commercial transaction? No. Okay, so they lacked full disclosure, rendering the entire matter as illegal. It is also a matter of tax fraud for the courts to rule on matters that can be settled between the parties without the court. So that's their second major violation. See? I tell you, keep learning, guys. Never quit fighting. The wrongdoers count on people, good people like you, giving up and losing hope. But the man who reversed his foreclosure after 14 years, I'm telling you, let that be your lesson, your renewed sense of hope. So that's how, because of him, I continued, and that's how I found a few documents that can stop foreclosure, which I will provide to anyone for free in exchange for an interview if you are going through a foreclosure case. Because you never know who your story is going to help. So your story can actually give someone light, hope, and that renewed sense of energy that they need. And that's worth more to me than any amount of money that you could ever possibly offer to me, because I get that all the time in the email. I just received that yesterday. Hey, Ann, can you help me? I said, okay, well, let's talk about your, had a very interesting story. He had, the man, he had done a lot to transition from, not knowing what was going on to becoming a little bit more knowledgeable in his foundation with the who, what, where, when, and all of that. And all I said was, okay, no problem. Let's do an interview. I don't want to take on any case, but I'll send you the document, but let's do an interview. Nothing, no response, crickets. Okay, fine. I'm on a mission to awaken this nation. All right. And going back and forth in a private email only helps me, and it only helps the one, that's sending the email back and forth. I started a group because we need to waken more people up. We need to wake more people up, right? So, you want private help, you want my time and my attention, well, help me on this mission. That's all I'm saying. It's like, it's the hardest thing to convey to people to want to help other people. I don't understand. If you want to just shrivel up and hide in the corner, well, then that's just not the life I'm living. I'm out here in these streets and I'm trying to help people. I am here to help, but I am here doing it in my own way and in my own time. So, naysayers, be damned, because nobody gets to tell me how to operate. I'm going to operate that's in the best interest of my own self and my own group. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. How about that? Family, I am a student who loves truth and freedom, here to light a spark of hope within you. If you are interested in more information on how to gain financial freedom, political freedom, and even spiritual freedom, you can visit ironsharpensironcouncil.com. Please remember that this is not legal advice. This is not medical advice. That's all I have for you on this episode. Have a great day on purpose.